So one person who is very happy about today's news from the Lat 4 hearing is my next guest. He is Senator Mike Gianaris, a longtime advocate for redistricting reform. Senator, thanks very much for your time. Good to see you.
Thank you, Liz.
So, okay, the Senate Republicans now say that they are going to follow the law, and the Assembly Democrats. Of course, this is a bipartisan committee, and you are thrilled, right?
How about that? The Senate Republicans actually are going to follow the law, and that's what passes for news these days.
Sarcasm.
Well, look, the reality is, had Senator DeLon not been at those Lat 4 hearings banging the drum for over a month now that the law is the law and they need to follow it, I don't know that this would have been happened. But the fact that they got dragged kicking and screaming and agreed to actually follow the law of the state is a good thing. It doesn't change the fact that Lat 4 is still controlled by the majorities in either house. That's the fundamental problem with the process that's unfolding right now. It's in contravention of what all the Senate Republicans agreed to do during the campaign season. It's against what the governor would like to do. He's promised to veto the lines produced by Lat 4, and we'll see where the process goes from there. But what they're operating under right now is going to produce a plan that is clouded by the fact that the governor has said he's not intending to agree to it.
Well, hold on one second. I mean, why are you blaming the Senate Republicans single-handedly for this? I mean, the reality is that the Assembly Democrats, as you just mentioned, are also doing this. So you're saying that the Assembly Democrats were not actually dragged kicking and screaming, that they intended all along that they, in fact, would be counting the prisoners in their last known address and not in their home districts?
Well, all I saw publicly reported from the earlier hearings was a statement from Senator Nozzolio that, in fact, that they were not intending to count the prisoners at their home locations. Certainly, if the Assembly Democrats were agreeing with that, then they are equally at fault. But the fact is, they did agree to do this now. Senator DeLon deserves a lot of credit for leading the charge on that issue. And we'll move on to the next step, which is still that these hearings are going to produce a plan that is partisan by definition and is not something the governor has said he will agree to.
So, interestingly, this is probably the worst news that Senator Betty Little could hear, because my understanding is that she's got a district, of course it's up north, that has 10 facilities with of prisons, and it depends on how you count them, state, federal, etc. But her district's going to have to grow about 5.6%, right? I mean, you're talking about a large percentage. Do you think, in fact, that if the Senate Republicans lose their lawsuit and they're still pursuing it, that she can win under this new structure of counting prisoners?
Well, look, if the Republicans in the Senate are holding the pencil and drawing the lines, then who knows what can happen. We've seen some terrible abuses of the gerrymandering process over the years. Counting the prisoners at the prisons is just one of them. The fact is they manipulate the population deviation so that the largest and smallest Senate districts are 10% different in population. They have been manipulating the prison counts, as you know. They've been underpopulating Republican districts, overpopulating Democratic districts. They've used every trick in the book to maximize their advantage. So while their agreement to follow the law about prisoners is encouraging, it still does not change the fact that the Lat 4 process is going to produce a partisan gerrymandered plan that the good government groups, the editorial boards, and the governor have very clearly said is not acceptable.
Yeah, you know, actually, one of the reasons why we've got you here is to respond, I believe, to Senate Deputy Majority Leader Tom Libous, who was on the show, who said he thinks, actually, that the Senate Republicans could win regardless of what kind of redistricting is done, even if there is some kind of plan that is completely independent. He still thinks that on the strength of their candidates and on the strength of their leadership, in his opinion, they'll be able to win. What's your response to that?
Well, that's terrific news. Then he should honor his pledge and the pledge of his entire conference to do it independently, and let's have a fair fight. If he really thinks that the Republican conference can win a fair fight against the Democrats next year, let's go for it.
That's it? Do you believe that it's true? I mean, do you think it's possible? I know you raise money for the Senate Democrats, but you guys, and you know, as we've discussed in the past, you guys are in the red. They are not in the red to tune of several $1 million. I mean, you need resources. It is a presidential year, of course, which brings out Democrats who don't normally vote, and maybe they'll vote right down the line, and it will help you. But you know, I mean, is it going to be a real fight?
Obviously, I don't believe that what Senator Libb has said is true. We believe that even under their plan, we'll be able to be successful next year and win back the majority for a whole host of reasons, some of which you just outlined. But the point is, if he's willing to say that, if he's willing to say that in a fair fight they believe they can win, then let's have a fair fight. If that's his challenge, we take the challenge and let's do it. Let's do what we all promised to do. Let's treat the voters with respect. Let's prove that we mean what we say during election season. Let's have a fair, independent redistricting process, and then let the voters decide.
Okay, so what then do you make of the idea that there's actually a potential compromise here, that LAT 4, the committee, will actually come up with some kind of plan, and that the governor could go halfway and maybe appoint an independent commission to review that plan, but not necessarily to draw a plan itself?
Well, I'd have a hard time believing that a review of the plan won't determine that it is grossly gerrymandered in a partisan way. If that wasn't going to be the result, then we wouldn't need to have a disproportionate number of majority versus minority members on this panel. I don't know that there's any discussions like that going on in a serious way. I mean, it's my information that the Senate Republicans have not had any discussions about a compromise of any sort on the redistricting issue.
Well, they've got a lawsuit. Why would they? I mean, it doesn't behoove them actually to have a discussion about compromising when, in fact, they're suing over the process, at least the counting of the prisoners.
Right. Well, they're suing over the prisoner issue, which is now settled that they're at least going to count them for purposes of the hearings that are taking place now. But regardless of that lawsuit, Governor Cuomo, who is a man of his word, has said repeatedly, strongly, as many times as you can bear to hear it, that he will veto plans that get produced through the LAT 4 process. So I believe there is an incentive for them to compromise. I'm not in a position of giving the Senate Republicans advice, but it seems to me that where we're headed right now, if no one moves off their current position, is that a court's going to end up drawing these lines.
And in the past, though, a court-drawn plan has actually served the majorities quite well.
Well, a court-drawn plan would certainly be a lot fairer. Now, whether it's, there has not been in recent history a state legislative plan that's been drawn by the courts. There were congressional plans in the last round that were drawn by the courts. But I certainly am of the belief that a court-drawn plan is far preferable to the political process that's unfolding right now. Ideally, we'd have an independent commission along the lines of that proposed by Governor Cuomo. But short of that, a court-drawn plan is certainly better than the status quo, which is going to be a grossly unfair plan. But,
Senator, aren't judges also political? I mean, you're going to trust the redrawing of district lines to a judge? And a judge who, P.S., is probably none too thrilled with the legislature over that pay issue, just saying.
Well, as long as the animus is pointed at both sides, then I suppose it would be fair. But the fact is we have a situation now where the people drawing the lines directly benefit from them. So a step removed from that, which would be a judge-appointed special master, would be preferable to the status quo. It's not the ideal. Don't get me wrong about that. The ideal would be a truly independent bipartisan commission like Governor Cuomo has proposed. But as compared to a court master appointed by a judge or the process that's unfolding currently controlled by the majorities, I think a judge-drawn plan would be a step in the right direction. Okay,
well, we're supposed to be seeing a report from LAT 4 soon, so I guess this will be unfolding in the coming weeks. I want to thank you very much, Senator Mike Gianaris, for being with us.
Thank you, Liz.